15-second delay. Hopefully YouTube is spooling it all up. Today we have guest Eric Alexander. There we go. Three. Dos. Uno. Blast off. We are going live soon, baby. We are going live. Finally, only 20 minutes behind the 8-ball. My goodness gracious. And there we go. Love it. Get rid of my glasses so you guys can see my beautiful hazel eyes. Hey, welcome to the Cosmic Cafe Show, where the paranormal has been especially normal tonight. This is our live daily specials videocast, this being episode number Ocho Seis, or Ba Sure, wait, E-R Sunsure, Wu. Oh, wait, Wu Leo. Oh, Ba Leo. For our Chinese audience members. For our French, it would be Under Twaka saying Cease, Wheat, Cease. Yeah. All right, well, nonetheless, we got more English speakers, so we'll just stick to 86. Today's date is, yes, true as it is, March 3rd. My goodness gracious, can you believe it? March 3rd. 86 episodes in March 3rd. It's hard to believe we started this back in late October, and we've come so far, and yet we can still stumble and trip over technology and get started 20 minutes late. So thank you for those of you who are tuning in now, despite us being so late. I do mucho appreciate that. But hey, over the next few minutes, we're going to highlight what we feel are the best in space: UFOs, aliens, abductions, Bigfoot, ghosts and hauntings, faulty. Yes. We also have a super duper wild card category tonight in the psychic realm. Yes, we do. But hey, joining us right now on Skype is our new friend, Eric Alexander. Eric, how are you doing?
Very well. How are you doing, Eric?
Welcome to the cafe. Thank you for stopping by the Cosmic Cafe and checking out our daily specials. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure.
So you are the associate producer of the movie Occupants, a feature-length movie which has been winning all kinds of awards, and the full feature length is going to be released this summer. And you guys have been doing really great in independent film festivals with your trailer and other promotional materials. But tonight you're here mostly to talk about the new comic book spin-off of the movie. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
A man of many words. Well, hang tight there for a few minutes while we get through our paranormal news. We actually pared it down a little bit tonight so we can blow through those as quickly as possible. And we'll get over to you and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with Occupants and the comic book and all that good stuff.
Sounds good.
All right, awesome. Well, let's get over to our slides here. Here we go. Pop those puppies open. Yes, and what do we have? What do we have for our top story? Well, thanks to our friends over at Interesting Engineering for their story posted today. I love those guys at Interesting Engineering. I don't know if you get their daily email or not, but they put out a really nice email every day, and oftentimes they have something that's worth sharing on this show, and this one is definitely no exception. They're talking about Microsoft's new HoloLens technology that they've been developing. It's all the virtual reality, 3D type reality. Well, they have a feature that's going to allow you to teleport to Mars. So they're taking all that video footage, all the pictures and everything that's been coming back from Mars, and I guess they've integrated it into a super awesome holographic type HoloLens experience. And I'm telling you, my friends, I really want to get my hands on one of these HoloLens from Microsoft. And thanks to Interesting Engineering, they've written up a really nice piece about it. They got a really great video over there. But since we have a guest tonight, we're not going to be playing that video. Otherwise, I would have definitely drug out that video and let you watch it. But hey, you know what? That's okay. You can definitely get it on our daily specials recap, which is posted every evening or first thing in the morning, and you can get it in your email box absolutely for free. Can you believe that? Absolutely for free. I'm insane. I should start charging money for that stuff. Well, anyways, moseying along over to our space and UFOs category. First up, we have, yes, thanks to Weird News Share. Hey, what can I say? That's their Twitter handle. I don't pick it. I just repeat it. Speaking of pick, no, never mind. All right. Anyways, thanks to Weird News Share for posting this very interesting story. And actually, you know what? My wife is actually a coin collector, and so I'm gonna have to see if I can get my hands on some of these coins and give them to her, because somebody actually noticed or discovered. Well, I guess it wouldn't really be a discovery, would it? It would be more of a notice. But they noticed that the French coin from the 1680s shows an alien UFO. And, you can see it kind of there in the blow up. I kind of wonder, is that just a badly designed parasol? Which, for you non-French speaking hombres out there, that would just be what we call here in California an umbrella. Well, anyways, I got the full article link, yes, posted, and you will get it in your daily specials. Mañana, yes. Alrighty. Well, hey, let's take a look at our... Ooh, hey, it's our Not a Real sponsor. Wow, we haven't seen these guys in a while. Golden Gate Domains. But you know what? All kidding aside tonight, goldengatedomains.com, they are a real advertiser because they're us. We actually own goldengatedomains.com. And what they are is they're a reseller of the very popular GoDaddy services. So basically you get pretty much all the same services, the web hosting, the registration, all that same stuff at GoDaddy, but at a lower price, because we don't really mark up the wholesale price much. We just pass along the savings to you, our friends of the cafe. So if you're looking to get a new domain name, or you're paying too much and you need to transfer it over to our services from one of those more costly services like Network Solutions, boo. Transfer them over to us, goldengatedomains.com, and you can set yourself up with web hosting. If you need to see an example of how awesome the service is, well, just look at cosmiccafeshow.com, because we're hosted on goldengatedomains.com's servers. So that's pretty brainless, isn't it? Pretty awesome. Well, hey, anyways, hopefully you guys like that tip there. All right, so for our Ghosts and Hauntings / Poltergeist category tonight, thanks to CLC Archive, and please don't ask me what CLC stands for, because you know what, honestly, I didn't bother to look it up. It's probably, let's see, what could CLC stand for? Cool, logic, cool? No, that doesn't make any sense. Eric, do you have any guesses there as to what CLC might stand for?
I don't know. Maybe they're copying you. Cosmic something? I don't know.
What'd you say?
Maybe they're copying you. Maybe it's cosmic something?
Cosmic Losers Class. No, that wouldn't be it. No, whatever they are. Anyway. They sent out... That's awful. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. I appreciate your tweet today. That's why I retweeted it. That's why I featured it on this show. I'm just playing with you all over there. I'm not trying to insult you or anything. Actually, you guys had a really awesome tweet about this. The students at Farnley Lodge who successfully pretended that the building was haunted by a ghost. So, thumbs up. Nice work, boys. Yeah. Gotta love a good, prank by the students. You just gotta love it. All right. Well, hey, last but not least is our wild card category, and tonight we are pulling up the psychic power. Thanks to BuzzFeed Video And actually, they got a pretty, what is it, 5 or 6 minute video that they posted. So you definitely want to go check this one out. They, all right, this is pretty awesome. It's pretty funny. This tweet is about a pet psychic. Yes, that's right. A psychic that can read your pet's mind. As if you can't do it already. And chances are your pet is telling you either A, I want to go outside and go pee or poop. B, or 2, I want to just go for a walk. Or 3, I want to eat. There could be a 4th one in there, but I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, so there's this pet psychic. And yes, does Fluffy or Rover look a little gloomy? Do they, I mean, do they need to see a psychic who can tell them their fortune, their future? Well, I mean, think about it. Maybe Fluffy, your little kitty cat, meow, meow. Maybe Fluffy will feel better knowing that just in a couple of days she's going to finally catch that rat. Yeah, maybe. Or perhaps Rover, Rover, little woof woof doggy. Maybe he'll finally solve the mystery that's lurking behind the fire hydrant. Yeah. Put Fluffy's mind to ease. Well, regardless, I know your pet really wants you to take them to their own psychic. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I'm a bad man. I understand. I'm a bad man. Speaking of bad men, hi Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Let me fix your name there. Why did your name fly off to the side? Did you move or something? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you again.
I'm doing very well.
I was in Tempe, Arizona about 2 weeks ago at the launch event for the comic book. So how's things going? I've been watching your Twitter and Facebook updates. It looks like the campaign is going awesome. It's on fire.
Oh yeah, we actually got some big news right before the program because we just hit 50%. So that's huge.
Oh really?
Yeah, 50% funded. And that's 12 days into it, not even 2 weeks. So that's pretty good. I think that's over $2,000 that we've raised.
That's fantastic. That is awesome.
12 days.
What's that?
So we're not quite at the 2 week already. Yeah.
Of course, Murphy's Law, his Skype video is starting to stutter there.
Yeah, there was a little delay there. I think I can hear you now. So
you can't hear me?
No, I can hear you now. You
good.
hearing me all right?
Yeah, I had to turn up my volume a little bit. Hopefully, it won't cause an echo with the viewers. But
okay.
Oh, speaking of the viewers, if you guys want to talk to Eric, I'm at a great risk. Well, anyways, we do have the chat room open. And you can also watch the show while you chat and make it very convenient for you. Just go to ccs.chat. So .chat is one of the new high-level.com, .net sort of URLs. So all you have to do is just go to ccs.chat. And you can post your questions to Eric about the movie, about if he's single or whatever, Although I've met Eric's girlfriend, and I don't think he's looking around, to be honest with you. Hollywood has treated him well. Right?
Yeah, that wasn't my girlfriend that you met, so no, I'm actually single.
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I was confusing you with Chris.
Chris, yeah.
My apologies.
No problem at all, so... Yeah, definitely. She sticks out. So I can
stop the conversation right there before we get you, me, and Chris in trouble.
Exactly.
Well, anyways, yeah. So, anyways, I just want to let everybody know they can go to ccs.chat, and I'm monitoring the room right now. I think Eric might have it open also, so we'll get to your questions. Now, I believe we have some slides that we that you want me to bring up the slides right now to kind of get us started here with some of the stuff to talk
Sure.
about?
Yeah, I don't know
All
exactly
right.
what they are because I think Russell put them together. Oh, that's a great picture. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Russ sent those over, and Russ was unable to join us tonight last minute, kind of a little emergency sort of thing, and so we will not speak of it any further.
It shall
So
not be
this picture
discussed.
here is clearly a great picture of Chris, who's in the movie, correct? He's
Yes. Yes,
well,
he
I'll let you
is.
tell the story. What am I doing telling the story? You're the guest.
No
I'll
problem.
just kick back and let you tell the story.
Well, to put a little background just on the film for anybody that doesn't understand what the concept of the film is, basically it's about a married couple that are filming a documentary in their house. As they're reviewing the footage for the movie that they're putting together, they start to realize that they're actually looking at a parallel version of themselves. Now, how this ties into what we're seeing, what we just saw before with Chris and his role in the movie, is they consult with a person that's supposed to be sort of an expert on this phenomenon named Dr. Peterson. And the Peterson Research Institute is the group that he heads up. And Chris is one of the employees for Dr. Peterson. And in the comic book, you'll learn that he actually has a greater relationship with Dr. Peterson than just being the representative that they actually seek. Excuse me. That they actually see when they're looking at a promotional video for PRI, because basically they're looking for information. And so in the film, they end up watching this video from PRI. And we actually made the entire video. It's about 20 minutes long. It's actually like a little featurette. And it shows people talking about the phenomenon that the couple in the movie are experiencing. And Chris is the spokesman in that video. So that video does feature in the feature film. It's kind of like having a movie within a movie. And then that featurette itself is its own short film. I think it's about 20 minutes long. And we've shown that at a couple of events. And that directly leads into the comic book, because that featurette, what it does is it provides a lot of the basis for the comic book in terms of what the people are talking about, which in the video, it's just like what we're doing right now. It's talking heads. It's someone just sitting there looking at the camera and talking about the phenomenon that they've experienced, whether it's something like watching a television show and it suddenly switches to another show that's clearly maybe similar, but obviously different. And so folks are just trying to figure out what it is they just saw. Well, in the comic book, we're able to show you really what they're seeing. And this picture kind of illustrates it really well, because this is going to be our cover. It hasn't been colored yet. We need the money to color it. That's part of the reason why we're doing the Indiegogo campaign, is so we can have a nice color cover. But as you can see, the art is really good. And what you see in the picture is that there are some sort of planes that are not clearly identifiable, and they appear to be bombing London. So we couldn't have done something like that in the feature film for budget reasons. But in the comic book, we can actually get into that. And that's also featured, I believe that's also featured in the PRI video, the full video. You have someone describing this scene, and in the comic book, we actually get to show it. So that's what's really neat about the comic book. And another interesting thing about this picture that it illustrates very well is you can see, obviously, the likeness for Chris as his character in the comic book and the real person is really, really good. Our artist, Dave Beatty, who I believe you're going to have on the show next week, he's top notch. He worked for Marvel. He worked for DC. He's an excellent, excellent artist, and you can see the results right there. It's obviously an uncanny resemblance. And so we're actually having a perk where for $20, we're going to actually do you as a character in the book. Now, it's going to be a scene with a lot of different people in it, but it is going to, it's just $20, and you have an artist of the caliber of Dave Beatty, who, like I said, has worked for DC and Marvel and other, top line properties, and he'll make you as a character in our book. There is a larger reward that's substantially larger, which is $300 perk, where you actually get a speaking role. You're actually a featured character in the book. Your character will actually speak lines. But the $20 perk, which has been very popular, I think it might be our most popular perk right now, is actually get to be drawn into a scene in the book. So this kind of illustrates all those different things at the same time.
Which is pretty amazing because, by the way, I just wanted to mention we got a couple of people, including the director of the movie, Russ Emanuel. He's actually in our chat room, and so we have a couple of guests in there as well. So please, anybody that's watching this live right now, it is 6:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're watching this live on the YouTube channel or directly on CosmicCafeShow.com/live, you can jump into the chat as well. If you have a question for Eric Alexander, feel free to post that. We are monitoring, or I'm monitoring the chat room. So I try and mute my microphone when I'm typing to respond to people and so on and so forth. So sometimes I forget to mute it. So that's probably what you guys have been hearing while Eric was just talking there. But anyways, Russ will also be watching questions, and he can respond directly even if I can't get to it or whatever. But we'll also try and ask it directly to you, Eric. It's Eric and Eric, awesome. So it's a little confusing. But let me pull up the next slide. But that is really exciting. I mean, $20 and you can be immortalized in a cartoon book that's going to be tied into a Hollywood feature-length movie that stars a Hollywood powerhouse like Robert Picardo. I mean, how many people can say that they're actually, that's just for $20. Are you kidding me? I mean, $300 should be reasonable, not $20. I mean, and the fact that you can do it for $20 and be immortalized like that is just. And once this movie comes out, folks, this opportunity is not going to be nearly as affordable, because this movie is it's already winning awards, right? I mean, I'm right? I mean, it's been winning
the trailer has actually won multiple awards already, which is really interesting. We've actually, the trailer that Russell put together has been very, very well received. And like I said, it's award winning. Yes. So we're just barely starting to do actual screenings of the film itself. But like I said, the trailer has actually won multiple awards, which is pretty exciting. I didn't even realize, I was talking to Russell about this. I didn't even realize that they had awards for trailers, but they do. And we've won several. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh my gosh. You're going to have to get a special addition to your, wherever your facility is, or your office or studio, you guys have won a ton of awards, not just a few. I know you're being modest and everything, but I mean, holy cow, it's like every day I log into Facebook and onto your page, and it's like, oh, we won another award, it's just like, I mean, this project is on fire. It's really, really on fire. I've read the script. I can't wait to see the feature-length movie, because you guys are, I think, holding that back until the debut screening at USC in late April. But my goodness, just from reading the script, I'm just super excited. That's, I guess, one reason why I've been putting so much energy behind helping you guys get the word out there, because people that are learning about it now, you guys and gals are in the inside circle. You're the early adopters. You are the beta testers. You are the ones that are going to be saying, yeah, I knew about you guys. Yeah. Well, welcome to the party, by the way.
Yeah. That's really fun. Eric, that's actually a real key part of our marketing. And something that I try to push is that's exactly right. You never know what's going to be the next big hot thing. Okay. Whether, you can compare it to something like Blair Witch or to Paranormal Activity or something like that. Any of those kind of independent films that really exploded, because obviously that's what we're going for here. And you just never know. And so that's one thing that I try to relate to people when I'm talking to them, whether they're con organizers or, film festival people or regular fans for that matter. Is, you just don't know how big this is going to be. And you can be on the ground floor of this as a fan, as a contributor, where you're actually participating and helping us to do this, because we're completely independent. We're not backed by any studio whatsoever. And so we're completely independent, and we're out here. We've done this feature-length film that is finished, and then now we're doing a comic book tie-in. And I think, like, how cool is that? Because even some major films that are made by Hollywood don't get a comic book tie-in. It used to be standard when I was growing up. I don't know about you, but I used to see comic book tie-ins to virtually everything. They adapted pretty much anything that was genre. They would come out with some sort of comic book version of it. And you can think of multiple properties where they did that as well. I grew up actually reading G.I. Joe and Transformers comic books more so than superhero comic books. And that's licensed property. So and those stories were really good, especially in G.I. Joe. They were much better than the cartoon. So I think that's one of the things, at least for me, growing up with comic books, I think it's exciting to have an independent film where we're doing something like this. And also it reflects the fact that we've really gotten a good buy-in from that community. We have multiple comic book conventions that we've already attended, and we've been invited to multiple other conventions. So, in fact, Russell just went to Farpoint Convention, which is a sci-fi convention that, as you might take by the name, is primarily Star Trek. We've gotten a good response from these conventions where they're interested in what we're doing, and that ties in as well to the comics and all these comic conventions. So it's just another way to sort of pull in this audience and let them know that we're there, because we want to be able to go to these comic conventions and not just be showing a trailer for the movie and maybe giving out some prints. We want to have those books, because that's something that I think will really appeal to those fans, that we actually have a book that they can purchase right then and there at our table and get a part of the story. It's what's really neat about the comic book is it ties in 100% to the movie. There are actual scenes that are almost directly taken from the movie itself, but it's still its own independent story that complements the movie. So it just basically widens the world so that you can see the potential of what Occupants really can be. Because I think Occupants can be an entire new brand, because the potential is literally endless. With parallel universes, we can literally go anywhere. We can do anything, and we don't have to worry a whole lot about. We don't even have to worry a whole lot about what we establish in a previous incarnation, because we can kind of completely redo things in a parallel world. So it's go ahead, Eric.
Real quickly, I thought I should ask you before we keep going, what's this picture all about? Or should I move on to the next slide?
This is the proud papa moment. This is Dave and Russell also took one where the two of them are in the picture, kind of doing the same thing. That's right, the moment that we went live. So Russell had his laptop there at the launch party for the campaign. And it was a big moment. It was actually pretty neat, because I've never done my own Indiegogo campaign before, and it was neat to be there at that moment, with Russell, with Dave, and with Chris, and with you, absolutely. It was really a neat moment. And actually, the child in the background there is one of my daughters, so my daughters were there as well. So it was really a neat moment, and it's exactly what it is. It's kind of that proud papa moment where you say, okay, we've actually launched our baby here, So
literally and figuratively.
Exactly, and that's what that is.
Let's pull up the next slide here, because there's Russ and Dave.
There's the one for them.
Posing.
Yep, exactly. And
what else do we have? Oh, we have an upside down photo.
Apparently,
Russ.
Apparently,
upside down photos. Let's.
Apparently, Critical Threat Comics is in distress. So,
no,
the upside down banner.
They were really great. They were so friendly to us, and they accommodated all our needs and everything. And I mean, if you live in the Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale area, or anywhere in Arizona, or if you're just passing through or you're visiting on business, you definitely want to make sure you go check out Critical Threat Comics, because they have a huge selection, but they're really nice. I mean, I'm not a huge comic book geek. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not going to be a poser and try and pretend I am. And you know what? They were super nice to me. They were super patient with all my stupid questions and everything. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, I really don't. I just, I'm not up on all that. But they were really accommodating, and they have nice areas where you can go over and play games and meet other people and enthusiasts. And so, I mean, they're just a. I mean, I wish they were here in the Bay Area, to be honest.
Yeah, they're awesome. Jeremy and Jess are the owners, and what's really nice about that particular comic book store, and one of the reasons that we had our launch party there, was almost half of the store is dedicated for tabletop gaming. So they actually encourage their patrons because it's probably about, I don't know, maybe a 1/3 split or so between tabletop gaming and comics. It's primarily comics, but they have a huge selection of tabletop games and miniature games and things like that, and card games. Things like Pokemon, Magic. Those things are big, and they actually encourage and dedicate nearly half of their store just so people can hang out and play the games that they've bought at the store or somewhere else for that matter. And you don't see that a whole lot, and that's really cool. In fact, that used to be a really big thing, and a lot of comic book stores, at least in this area, got away from it and started just saying, you know what, we don't like it. It's too much of a hassle. And I think it's really cool. And it makes a lot of sense, too, because they're in the heart of the main ASU campus, right down the street from Mill Avenue, which is one of the biggest party areas for the Phoenix metro area, is Mill Avenue in Tempe. And so they're right there.
Why didn't you guys tell me that while I was there? I would have gone partying.
I thought I
instead of
did.
going back to my hotel and sleeping.
I thought I did tell you that, but maybe that was somebody else. But it's a great area. I was talking to them about that. It's like we don't really have a shop that's located like that. Just in the heart of everything. So it's like in the middle of the middle of downtown Tempe, middle of the ASU campus, which basically is its own small city. ASU is a huge school. So it's a really neat, unique venue, and I can't thank them enough for hosting us. And for the fact that they were just so accommodating, like you said. We had plenty of space, tons of tables. We didn't have to bring our own tables, chairs, nothing like that. So it was all there for us, and we really appreciate it.
Water and
correct,
I mean, they gave us other stuff as well. It was great, I mean, they were really friendly, and being in a downtown dense population area like that, next to the campus or right there in the heart of the campus and everything, I was actually surprised as to all the available parking. So it's not that hard to get there. I mean, they got the big parking lot kind of adjacent to behind the building there. They have parking in front of the building. They have parking on the street. There's a huge parking lot across the street. There's a ton of parking considering the area. So it really makes it easy. Plus all the public transit that's right there.
Well, I will say that
easy.
I will say though, for the event, we were lucky it was on Saturday, because if it wasn't Saturday, if it was a regular school day, parking would have been a real mess. So we were lucky in that regard because the school wasn't going at that point. But don't
tell anybody. Shh, quiet.
But what, dovetailing on what you said, it's actually right down the street from the light rail, and that's usually how people are encouraged to go to places like that. We have a bunch of park and rides out here where you can actually park your vehicle for free, and then you jump on the light rail and you can go to downtown Tempe, you can go to downtown Phoenix, and now downtown Mesa. That was the last little leg that they put there. So the three of our major towns now are connected by the light rail, where you can go to downtown Phoenix, downtown Tempe, or downtown Mesa, and just take the light rail, and it takes you right there. Do the park and ride.
Well, let's we got Dave upside down. Let's see if we can find well, there we go. There's one of Dave's books.
Actually, if I'm looking at this correctly, because this is really in the formative stages, because Dave and I actually talked about this. I believe this is actually from the images that we did in the book, because we have 2 interior art pages that were completed in addition to that cover that we showed earlier. And if I'm correct, these are the initial pencils that Dave actually did when he was preparing to do the actual artwork that we ended up using for the campaign. So if you go to our Indiegogo, go to Indiegogo and look up our campaign for the Occupants comic book, you'll see that we have two finished pages that you can review to get a good idea of what the comic book is going to look like. And this is how it started. Basically, he had a sketchbook and he did some rough pencils. And then from there, Dave primarily works digitally. So he, however he does it on his computer, hopefully you can really delve into that with him when you have him on the show, because I don't know if he uses a tablet or a mouse or how he does it exactly. I find that stuff kind of fascinating because when I started with this kind of stuff, because I was trying to, or actually I did publish my own comic book years and years ago, everything was done with penciling and inking. So you would have an actual physical piece of paper that the artist would pencil. You might have somebody else ink it, and then if you added color, that was another step in the process. So a lot of it's going digital. And actually, we are talking right now about possibly having some original artwork available as an additional perk. So that's something that you're kind of hearing here first. We're just kind of figuring out the price point. So we may be adding another perk to the Indiegogo campaign that will feature some original art the classic way rather than just digitally. And this is the way it starts. The artist is doing some sketch work there. The thing that it does, though, unfortunately, is it adds time. That's where the rub is, and that's why we're trying to make sure that we do this right, because it does add to your production time. So it takes longer if you do it the traditional way because it's more intensive on the artist. It's going to be more labor intensive on him. But the cool thing is Go ahead.
I was going to say, if I'm reading this correctly from our chat room, Russ just mentioned, in addition to what you're saying, he said the book should be 24 pages total.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, 24 pages total. So we have 2 pages, like I said, that have been completed that we featured in the actual campaign, and they're featured in the video. And then we have to do the additional 22 pages, and that's primarily what the campaign is aimed at accomplishing. So because the main thing is to get the artwork finished, because then we can always look at different printing options and things like that.
Russ wanted me to remind people about the custom signed posters. While we were there in Tempe, Arizona, we had 10 posters signed by various participants, and so he wanted to make sure people knew that those are available on the Indiegogo program. Yeah. Oh, you got one there. Yeah, yep. I got to dig mine out as well. I got a special poster as well for being there.
So you can see it. You can see
one, baby.
You can see it. You can see it here. It's like the image we had earlier that Chris was posing with. He was posing with one of these that was unsigned, I believe. And yes. We actually did this where we put some signatures on this thing for pretty much everybody that was there that was involved with the project. I believe you signed as well, didn't you? Or
I did. So it's a very, very special limited edition, that one.
Yeah. So this is what he's talking about, and that is one of our rewards. That's one of our perks, I should say. In Indiegogo, the term is perks, not rewards. So yes, that's one of the perks. It's one of the perks that we have for.
There's us signing them, and you, Chris and his girlfriend, upside down. Oh, and I'm in the picture too. Yes, there I am. Thank you very much, Russ, for having upside down photos. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't do anybody justice. But
actually, I'm hammering Russ because he and I were good friends. But it is an iPhone thing, because when I take pictures with my iPhone and I import them, they inevitably turn upside down, even though in the previewer they all look up. They look correct. They all look oriented correct. So everything looked correct when I loaded for the show tonight. But doggone if some of these didn't show upside down. And it's my fault. I should have done a little bit better show prep. I apologize in advance for Russ. It's not his fault that his iPhone did this. I don't know why iPhone does that. I really don't, because it's very annoying. But that's, I guess, another conversation that's unrelated to. Are we going to have to look at all these photos upside down? I wonder if there's something I can do with this thing to turn them up.
There's no way to reorient them?
Huh?
There's no way that you have to reorient them to just rotate them.
There we go. I
Yeah,
just
there we
reorient the
go.
entire block because it looks like all of them are upside down. So there we go.
Can we
So
can
let's
we
go
go back
back
and
and
talk? Can we
there we
yeah, let's go
go.
back and talk. So that's Chris, and that's his girlfriend, that's why you remembered her, because I think anybody would remember her if they had seen her. So
Well, she's
yeah,
a
that's
model.
yes, and
Yeah, she's a
yeah,
professional model. So I mean,
so
look at you, Chris.
and yeah, we were very
The
happy to
envy
have.
of all of us guys here in the audience today.
Well, we were very happy to have them there and have their support. And
You know what? She's a sweetheart. She is such a supportive woman, and she's so down to earth too. I mean, most people would assume that she's like really standoffish or really stuck up or whatever because she's so beautiful, but she is such a sweetheart, so down to earth, so genuine. I mean, she's just genuinely such a great person. I mean, if I
yeah,
wasn't married, Chris would be in trouble.
I'm not going to comment on that. So
No comment. But there's my
I'm
wedding
not
ring
going
right
there.
there.
But yes, that is Chris, and that is his lovely girlfriend Sarah, and we really did appreciate them being there. I believe this is gosh when you were doing the interview with them, right? And you guys were talking, so you did the live
Yeah,
interview, and
yeah. Wes came up so they can actually see the video in the archive of
yeah,
this of the interview portion when I interviewed Chris and Sarah was there and everything. They just go in the archive back. What day was that? That was February 20th, wasn't it? I think it was
yeah, that sounds right.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
it's
Saturday.
notated in the archive.
Yeah, that was really cool. Actually, I really appreciated you being there and doing the interviews. That was a lot of fun. I
Boy,
really
that was a
enjoyed it.
hair-raising day. I had all kinds of technical issues that set us back quite a bit that day. You guys were cool for hanging out. It's like Murphy's Law. Everything about Murphy's Law that could go wrong absolutely went wrong that day. I mean, my computer crashed. I had to rebuild my computer. I mean, everything went wrong.
It
The only
happens.
thing that went right is my head didn't explode.
Well, the bottom line is that we got it out there, and that's what we wanted, and I was very
Yes.
pleased. So
Ooh, and
yeah,
in the picture we can see the Kool-Aid and the cake that you brought for the party too.
that's right. Yes, we did have cake and we had soda. That's correct. So those of you
If
that
you want
didn't
to call
come,
it soda, you know, I'll
totally
stick
missed
with
out.
that story too.
What's that?
I said, if you want to call it soda, I'll stick with that story too.
Well, people missed out for sure that didn't come.
They
So
absolutely did. The next time you guys do an event, you guys have some events lined up, don't you?
yes, that's a good segue into that. Oh, and there's our artist. I can't praise him enough. Okay,
Yeah.
Dave Beatty is an incredible comic book artist.
Yes.
We're very, very fortunate to be working with him, because it's really, for the comics, it's really like kind of how we have Robert Picardo in the film. Dave is
Yeah.
like that for comic books, because
Yeah.
like I said, he has worked on some major DC and Marvel properties. He actually worked on Batman Incorporated, which
Wait a
can't get
second.
much
Hold
bigger
on.
than Batman.
Hold the presses there. Hold the presses. Don't just gloss right over it. He worked for Marvel and DC Comics. Okay, yeah,
Correct.
whatever. But he worked on Batman. I mean, that's like
Yes.
somebody saying, I worked on a George Lucas movie and it was, Star Wars. I mean, come on,
Yep.
folks. You know, that's
Yeah.
huge.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly the right analogy that you just put out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, for the comic books, we're just so fortunate to have an artist of his caliber involved with the book. It really puts us on literally on the same playing field as the big boys, because we have a big boy artist. So it's really cool. So we're really excited about that, because it just means that the quality of our product is going to be just right on par with any of the big boys. And that's what's really kind of cool about the comic book industry. It's pretty small, and even smaller than the film industry. Which, if you start getting into film, you start realizing that you're probably within 2 or 3 degrees separation of just about everybody once you start to get into this. That you always kind of
Yeah.
know somebody that knows somebody that knows this person. In comics, it's even smaller. So, it's a pretty neat thing. So, and a lot of these people are very accessible. So you can go up to them, you can approach them, you can ask them what their page rate is, and you can do your own book. It's really pretty cool. And not every artist is open to that, but the cooler ones are. And Dave is definitely one of the cooler ones. And
Yeah,
I'm
he
happy to
spent
say
a lot
that.
of time during the interview, so people can watch that interview. Don't you guys have that linked on your Indiegogo also for that launch event?
I believe it's linked on our Facebook page. I know that it was
Okay,
on
it's
our
on the
Facebook
Facebook
page.
page. Yeah.
Yeah, we should get it linked on the. Actually, that's a really good. That's a good idea. We really should get it if we can. We should get it linked on the Indiegogo because everybody that's involved in the project pretty much is in that interview. So
Yeah.
it's actually a lot of good information. So if we can do that, that's definitely something I think we should look into.
Well, you
Um,
definitely have
but
my permission.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. Again, we appreciate the fact that you were there in the first place and did this because it was
Yeah.
so invaluable to have so many of the participants there at the same time and able to
Yes.
interview them on the show. So it was, just all at once. Because, for instance, even though Dave lives in Arizona, he actually lives in Prescott Valley, which is, I think, about an hour and a half drive away from where I live. So
Uh-huh.
it's not like we are able to get together on a totally regular basis, and he can just come over, or I can just go over, and it's an easy thing. So, and then
Yeah.
Russell's in California, Chris is in California, though he goes back and forth because Sarah's out here. But
Yeah.
it's still it's difficult to get everybody together at the same time. And so we're able to do this at the launch event, and to be able to do the interviews was just fantastic. But I can't say enough good things about Dave. First of all, he's just an awesome human being. But the fact that he's so talented and he's very humble, I'm sure you realize that talking to him, he's actually a very humble guy for the caliber, for the level of artist that he is. And some
Well,
people
he
aren't like
gives
that.
speaking of humble, I asked Dave to give some tips for anybody that would be interested in. I mean, there's a lot of teenagers and stuff that are interested in this. And so I asked him. I said, "Hey, if you're, what advice would you give to somebody that is interested in maybe becoming a comic book artist? Maybe they're in high school still, and they want to get into college, or maybe they're just started their freshman or junior or sophomore year in college, and they want to get into the comic book industry." And Dave really, I mean, he really was very patient. He gave some great answers for people that would want to get that. So anybody that's interested in even becoming a contributor or an artist in the comic book industry, they should go watch that interview that I had with Dave, and they can learn a lot. I mean, it's just amazing how giving that man is. And I should mention, incidentally, he will be here on the Cosmic Cafe Show's live daily specials in just a few days. I believe it's next Monday he's going to be here. Or is it Tuesday? No, next Tuesday I believe it is.
Yes, I believe it's next Tuesday. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, next Tuesday. Dave will be here, and he will be ready to take your questions. I mean, it's a huge opportunity to talk to a legend in the industry in a nice casual environment like the cafe.
Yeah,
So,
actually, he had talked about being on this week, and Tuesday is the day that he's normally free, but he just had a birthday. So make sure you wish him happy birthday when he's on the show. So that was the reason that he's not on this week, is because he just celebrated a birthday. So he was doing some family time. So happy birthday
yeah.
to Dave for sure.
Well,
Great guy.
We'll be able to work out the bugs, and maybe we can also have Russ or you join in on the fun next Tuesday as well. Let me get us to the next slide. Otherwise, we'll never get through.
That's obviously our interview where you and I were talking, which was a lot of fun. Again, it just was a great opportunity to get everybody together. So it was. I had a lot of fun with it. I think you did too. So I think it was a good time had by all.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. Oh, now it
now I'm
reversed,
back.
and now
Huh?
it's upside down again. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can fix this. Gosh. Thank you, Russ.
Just do the opposite of what you did before, and we should be good, right?
Did I wait? It's upside down still.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. So this is a screenshot directly from the Indiegogo site.
Oh,
I
that's
can't.
old.
Yes, it is. It's not current. We're actually better than that. We're just over $2,000 now, and we're 50% funded. So, and that just happened right before the show. So that's great news to come into the show and to be able to talk about that you're 50% funded, and that's pretty awesome. Like I said, 12 days into the campaign,
or what, 2 weeks or something, and
it's still under 2 weeks. Still under 2 weeks,
and that's you have like another 6 weeks to go or something, right?
Yeah. Indiegogo gives you 60 days. And so that's really nice. So we still have plenty of time, but I want to push for people to really just help us to keep this momentum going, because, these things are stressful to a certain extent. And the quicker we can reach our goal, the quicker we can really start working on this stuff, get Dave going on the art and all that good stuff. So we're very happy with the momentum we have. Like I said, coming to this show and be able to tell you that we're 50% funding in 12 days is just awesome, I think. But obviously we still need some more. So anybody out there that's interested, you can go to our Indiegogo page. There's also links on our Facebook, and I believe there's also links on the website for the film itself. So you can go to Occupants. You look it up on the Facebook page. If you look me up, I can always refer you to it under Eric Alexander on Facebook. We're very excited right now because the campaign is doing very well, and we're getting a lot of interest, and that's what we want. So we got 50 contributors right now. So we just want to keep that going and get some more people. And a big part of the reason we're doing the comic book is to gain attention. So the more people that are contributing, even if you're contributing at just $5, which is where we start, and a lot of these campaigns don't start at $5. They'll start at $10 or $15 or $20. And we have a bottom perk of $5. So for just $5, you can be a part of this, and you can help us to promote this, and also just to support independent publishing, independent film. Which I think is really important right now. So go ahead, Eric.
Just interject here real quickly. I just anybody that's joined us a little bit late in the live broadcast, maybe joined in the last couple of minutes. I am speaking with Eric Alexander. He's the executive associate producer of Occupants, the feature-length movie, which is an independent movie. It features the star power of Robert Picardo. You may remember him from Star Trek. He was a holographic doctor, and in fact, in the image there, you can see the cartoon image of Robert Picardo in the comic book campaign. But I wanted to also mention that Russ Emanuel, the award-winning director for the movie, he's in our chat room right now. If you want to join in on the chat, you can go to ccs.chat. That's the URL. It's like a .com or .net, but it's .chat. So CCS for Cosmic Cafe Show .chat. You can also continue to watch the show live in that room as well. And you can join in the chat. And Russ has been posting in there, including the Indiegogo links, the direct links. So as Eric was just mentioning, you can contribute for as little as $5. For $20, you can actually become immortalized with your own image in the comic book that's going to be released. It's going to be over 20 pages, and it's drawn by a DC comic, Marvel comic powerhouse in the industry. This guy is like, he's like the I don't know. He's like one of the biggest names in the comic book industry, Dave Beatty. So if you're a comic book geek, you already recognize the name. If you don't recognize the name, this guy, he's the equivalent of, it's like a Steven Spielberg or a George Lucas or something. This guy's huge in the comic book industry. And so Dave Beatty would actually be drawing your image into this comic book spin-off of this independent movie, which is going to blow the doors off. It's already winning awards left and right in the indie circuit, and so it's just a rare opportunity for just $20. Or if you want a more significant feature, you can pay, what is it, $200 or $300 or something like that?
It's $300 for the speaking one. So then you're kind of like a featured character that actually has lines.
Russ Emanuel, just real quickly, he mentioned in the chat room, he wanted to give a shout out to Jennifer Dawn Anderson Bounds. I guess that's her whole name, Jennifer Dawn Anderson Bounds. She was responsible for getting the campaign over the 50% mark. I mean, your whole Indiegogo campaign, it's 60 days long, but within 10, 12 days or something, you guys have already gone over 50%. So the campaign's on fire. I mean, this slide that we have up is already out of date. It's over 2,000 that you've already raised. You're over 50% there for what you're looking for. No doubt in the next 6 weeks when the campaign finishes, the campaign, I mean, you're going to probably be way over budget, have a lot of people that have, contributed. I mean, for $20, you could have your image forever immortalized and drawn by one of the powerhouses in the comic book industry, and you're tied to a movie that's good. My feeling is that because I've read the screenplay, I haven't seen the full movie yet either. They've withheld it from me also, but I'm just from the screenplay itself, written by a Writers Guild of America screenplay. I'm drawing a blank. A writer
from the Writers Guild of America. Yes, the WGA.
Yeah.
Julia, our writer, is yes.
It was pre-screened there, and you guys won an award, didn't you, or something like that? I mean, the whole project. I mean, this could literally be like the next Blair Witch Project. It really could. I mean, it's picking up steam. It's picking up momentum. And, you have this rare, unique opportunity because you're watching tonight or you're catching the replay here in the next couple of days. You are definitely in the right place at the right time. And for as little as $20, you're going to be part of something that's so huge, so exciting, so fun that, I don't want to sound like I'm just totally...
Well, I do want to point out again. I just don't want to point out again that we do also have perks that are less than $20. So if you just want to be a part of it, like I said, our perks start at just $5. That gives you a digital copy of our book. So you'll be getting a digital copy of our book before anybody else gets it. The people that participate in the Indiegogo campaign are obviously going to be the first ones to get their hands on this book, whether it's a digital format or the printed format. So that's a big incentive. We've got a nice. This is a cool thing that we've got going. So this is the Verde Valley Expo. Okay, and basically, Dave is actually one of the principal organizers of this event. They did another event last year, so they're just going to annual. So this is their second annual event, and we're really excited about it. It's a one-day show. Very much gets back to sort of the classic comic book Comic-Con type show, actually before Hollywood kind of took everything over. The old school type comic book shows were usually very vendor focused and usually just a day long, real cheap to get in. This one, I want to say, I can't read it, unfortunately, what the price to get in is, but it's really low compared to other conventions. I mean, a lot of conventions these days.
Glasses on, maybe I can read it.
A lot of conventions these days, you're talking at least $40, $50.
$5.
Exactly. So it's
or $3 if you bring 2 canned food items.
Exactly.
So that's awesome.
And this particular event is being used to raise money for the library out there in Cottonwood, which is one of the communities in northern Arizona. So if you're worried about that time of year that it's going to be too hot, it's up north, it's up in the mountains, so it's actually very, very nice. So for a lot of people that live here locally where I live in the Phoenix area, this is actually going to be a good opportunity for them to get out of the heat and enjoy a really fun event.
Wait a second, hold on. Did you say that Arizona gets hot? I've never heard that.
It's shocking, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it just got hot like in Southern California or Death Valley or something, but it actually gets hot in Arizona too.
Yeah. I know that is pretty wild, huh? Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm spoiled here in the Bay Area. What can I do? It gets like 80 degrees and we start going.
Yep. Well, that's kind of what Cottonwood is like. So it's
Oh, okay.
a much milder climate because they're kind of up in the mountains. So we're really looking forward to this event because it's kind of a unique partnership because our artist is one of the principal organizers. So we're very much excited about this event. I believe we're going to be the only film at that event. So I believe the plan is to show the featurette I was talking to you about, which is
Yeah.
the PRI video, the Peterson Research Institute video, which ties in directly to the comic book. In fact, the featurette is a perfect bridge between the comic book and the film because it's featured in the film briefly, but it's featured in the film itself. The couple actually views it, and then it's very much what the comic book is also based on. Like I said, we were able to take these testimonials and we were able to really expand them in the comic book where you can really see what it is these people were seeing instead of just having them talk about it. And that's a lot of fun. So yeah, this is one of the events that we'll be attending very, very soon, and we're really excited about it. And like I said, it's a unique thing because Dave is actually one of the organizers for this event. So
That's cool.
yeah, so we're really looking forward to it. Now, this is a really good illustration of what we're talking about with our cameos. So when we say that you're going to be in the book, this is really something you can look at to see, well, what are you talking about? How am I going to be in the book? So if you look at this, in fact, I'm actually featured in this image. And I've taken my image and I've actually used it as the profile picture for my Facebook. And I've gotten tremendous compliments about how much it looks like me. And it's really, really cool when you think about it. Just really shows how good Dave is. This is a laptop. Okay, this is a scene of basically of Dr. Peterson, which is Robert Picardo's character, looking at his laptop, and the amount of detail that he can put into this image is just amazing. And so, and this was a lot of the people that are featured in this, who were also featured, by the way, in the PRI video, the actual real people that these images are based on. They're actually in a lot of them are in the video. We wanted to kind of do like a thank you to those folks because they had done things to help with either with the previous Indiegogo campaign, because our movie was funded through crowdfunding, through a successful Indiegogo campaign, or some other contribution that they made along the way. And so we wanted to do something nice for them. And so we did this. And I believe Russell's in there somewhere too. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe he can comment if he's listening and he's in the chat room. But I believe Russell's in there somewhere as well. So, but it really gives you a good example of what it looks like. And then you can, like if you went to my Facebook page, Eric Alexander, I have the image there. So you can see what I look like right now. And then you can also look at the image as it came out. You can get a good idea of what Dave is going to do as far as how your image is going to look. The scene that we're going to be using for the people that are contributing is a surprise. It's not going to be like this in terms of, no, it's just going to be another screenshot from a laptop. Okay.
I think I just found Russ.
Did you? Okay, cool.
He's that black spot right there.
that black
blemish on the screen. I kind of got it circled there using my little annotating software.
But like I said, it's actually going to be pretty cool, I think. And people are going to be like, oh, this makes sense too. So, but it gives you somewhat of an idea of what these cameos basically are going to be all about, where you're written into the story. So, and like I said, the amount of detail is just it really blew my socks off when I saw this, because I was just like, I couldn't believe that Dave got that amount of detail into this particular image. It's really cool. So
Speaking
this is more.
Detail, I mean, look at the detail in the cover for the inaugural edition.
Yeah.
The premiere edition.
Yep.
I mean, look at that. I mean, it's like you don't even really need color because it's so good in the black and white. It's like you don't really miss the color. I mean, that's my feeling, at least.
It's funny you say that, because actually Russell mentioned that, because he's actually grown so fond of the image that he's almost like, oh man, we should just keep it the way it is. And we very easily may have an edition where we just keep it the way it is, but we will have a color version. That will be our primary color. It'll be colorized. But yeah, you're right. I think. Go ahead.
An interesting maybe perk on the Indiegogo program is to have a limited edition that are printed with just the black and white cover for people that pay an extra donation or extra level just for a black and white cover like this.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because Eric, we actually do have two variant covers. Variant covers are pretty popular right now in the comic book world. And so what we've done is I've kind of followed that model. If you look at the sort of the Star Wars licensed books, they're a really good example of this. The Walking Dead also does a little bit of this because they have their TV show now. So what they'll do a lot is just even with standard books that aren't related to any television or movie property, they'll do these alternate variant covers. And people like them because they end up becoming sort of like a premium collectible because, like, just as an example, if they ship, say, 10 books, maybe every 10th one is a variant. Okay, so they become rare. So we're kind of using that model a little bit, and we actually have two $20 perks for two variant covers. One of them will be a variant art cover. And we're keeping under wraps about who's going to be doing that cover and the style and everything because we want it to be a surprise. And so we're going to have a variant cover that's drawn, okay? And then we're also going to have a variant cover that ties in directly to the film, and it's going to be an image from the film or a promotional image. Like I said, if people who have been into Star Wars comics, they know what I'm talking about. Because Star Wars does this all the time, where they'll have an art version cover of the book, where the characters are drawn, and then they have another one that's basically like a still, either from the film, one of the films, or a promotional image that they put on there, and then they use that as the cover. And so I kind of have an example that I can kind of show you also in terms of what we did with our prints. You can see, like, this is what we're using right now for promoting the film. This is the image that we're using. And it's a photo image. So this could be the cover. We could use something like this. There are other images that we could use, but this is basically what I'm talking about. So it would be something that's tied in directly to the film. This is something that's featured directly in the film, and this is what we're using right now when we're promoting the film. It's basically our poster right now. And then we have a previous image.
While you're getting the next one, I'll just mention real quick that Russ mentioned in the chat room, for everybody that's in the chat room, they can see his comment. He said, Occupants is all about surprises. Ha, ha,
that's right.
Ha.
That's correct. It is all about surprises. But here's another image. This is our original image that we used in the first Indiegogo campaign, and also at the first convention that we attended, which was the Comic and Media Expo in Mesa, Arizona. So we had prints of this. So that's another example of the type of thing that you might see in the alternate photo cover of that we have for the book. And those are very exclusive. Our first printing will only be 50 copies of each. Now, we may do additional printings based on popularity and what people like, but the first printing will be limited to just 50 prints of those alternative covers. And the book itself, the first printing is only the regular book with this cover that we're seeing right now. It's still going to be pretty exclusive. It's going to be 250. So we've got a pretty limited print run on all three versions of the book. Like I said, we may do additional printings, but anybody who knows anything about comic books, they know that it's always about that first printing. The first printing is always the one that becomes the most valuable. And in the case of our book, it's going to be super exclusive. And you can just imagine when the film is huge, okay, just super popular. Okay, it's gonna affect everything else around it, including the comics, and you're gonna see a bigger interest in the comic books as well. Which our hope is that we'll be able to make additional printings and continue the series. That we'll actually be able to have a series of books, and so people are really going to be wanting the Indiegogo versions, because they're going to be super rare compared to anything else. Because, like I said, this thing explodes. Like I said, this thing explodes, and the movie does really well. That we just have this great potential, especially with a lot of comic book shops and things like that, that they're going to want our book. And in order to fill that demand, go ahead.
Speaking of which, Russ just made a really good comment in the chat room for everybody that's in the chat room. And if you want to join in to the chat room, just go to open your new browser, whatever, and type in ccs.chat. And it's just kind of like .chat is one of those new top level domains like .com, .net. It's CCS for Cosmic Cafe Show. And you can watch the show, and you can chat with Russ. You can chat with some of the other members that are in there right now. But Russ just, he's funny. He's funny. It's too bad he couldn't make it on the live video feed, but he mentioned, maybe it's better he's stuck in the chat room, because he said, what about the parallel printing? So we got...
That's right.
So I guess, okay, everybody in the parallel world that happens to be watching, you have your chance also. But there's only one first edition. That's it, right? There's only one.
That's correct.
I've secured my first edition, by the way. I've already ponied up my money. Full disclosure here. I've already donated. I've donated a substantial amount to the original campaign here. And so I'm making sure I'm getting myself my first edition book. So I definitely encourage you to also, because you don't want this to turn into the next Blair Witch Project or some other big project that ends up having tens of millions of people that watch it in major motion picture theater and all this stuff. Because, I mean, the script is phenomenal. It's written by Writers Guild of America, screenplay whatever you call them. Anyway,
Screenwriter, yes.
A phenomenal writer. They did an excellent job on it. And, I mean, it's winning awards left and right. This thing is going to explode huge. There's going to be millions upon millions, probably tens upon millions of people. And they're going to be buying these comic books, but they're going to be really sad because they're going to go boo-hoo-hoo, because they're like, oh, I never heard about the Indiegogo program. I never heard about this. I just learned about it. And they're going to want your book because you're going to have one of the very few books that's in the original edition. And you're going to be like, no way, I'm not selling it to you. And, so it's like, I mean, it's like getting a first edition Batman or first edition Superman or first edition, whatever, right? I mean, and you have a DC comic, Dave Beatty. He's a superhero in the comic book industry. He's like a George Lucas or a Steven Spielberg in the comic book industry. He is the guy that's making this book. He's the guy that drew that image that you're looking at right now. That's Dave Beatty. The guy's a genius, and he's going to be actually here live next Tuesday as well. So right now we have Eric Alexander, the associate producer. We have the director. Oh, I'm sorry, associate director, right? I keep screwing up your title, Eric.
So for the film, I'm the associate producer. For the comic book, I'm actually the editor. So I've got multiple hats.
The editor. The film, he's the associate producer, and we have the director, Russ Emanuel. He's in the chat room right now. So it's live now, 7:33 p.m. Pacific. 9:33 p.m. Eastern. We're almost wrapping up this show, so there's still a couple of minutes. You have a couple of minutes to get in there. Probably by probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to wrap this up because I'm getting tired. Eric, I'm sure, is getting tired. We've been on here over an hour. So get into the chat room, ccslive.chat, if you have any quick questions. Also, Russ has been posting the direct link to their Indiegogo program, so you want to get over there. $20 you can be immortalized. For $5 you can definitely participate and support the program. But hey, for $15 more, why not get your image immortalized in this awesome comic book? It's on fire. The campaign is doing phenomenal. And I mean, less than 2 weeks already, they're over 50% of their goal. And they have like another 6 weeks to go. So they're going to blow the doors off of this. And, I mean, there's so many upsides. I can't even think of a negative, Eric. I mean, are there any negatives? Am I missing it? Am I being stupid here? Let me see.
No.
Russ he's typing something. He says I'm stupid, but forget Russ. I don't care about what Russ has to say.
No, really, like
Russ and I are friends, so he can call me stupid anytime. I don't care.
You know, if you are interested in supporting independent projects, if you're interested in supporting things that are new, you know, I see a lot of buzz out there. I see a lot of people complaining about how Hollywood never comes up with any new ideas. Everything is recycled. It's always the same thing. Interestingly enough, also, there's a thing in comics sometimes where people will say, you know, why is it all superhero comics? Why is it always about superheroes? So comic books
I agree with you on that.
Comic books are.
I also ask the same question. It drives me crazy. Maybe that's why I'm not so interested in normal ones, because I don't like all the superhero stuff as much. I'll be honest.
Well, like I told you, I actually when I grew up, I was into comics, but it wasn't superhero comics that I read. I read G.I. Joe and Transformers, which were licensed properties, based on the cartoons. But the stories were completely different, which is a little bit different than what we're doing with Occupants, because Occupants. If you look at DC, okay, or DC or Marvel, either the big boys, okay, all of us are probably very familiar with their films and television shows. Now, what Marvel has done is they've tied in their television shows and their movies all together, so they're pretty much one big world, unless it's Fox. You know, if it's X-Men, it's a different thing, but everything else is all tied in together and part of one nice world. Well, if you go to the comic books, that's a different world, okay? So those stories that are in the comic books do not directly affect the movies. A great example is the upcoming Marvel movie, which is Civil War, the new Captain America movie that's coming out. It's got a lot of great buzz. Well, there was a Civil War storyline in the comics that is epic for comic book readers that they're just super into. And some people are a little upset because they know that the Civil War storyline in the movie is not going to follow the comic book. It's because they're two different worlds, and you have to understand that. DC is even worse about this, okay? DC has things like Gotham that have nothing to do with Flash and Arrow, and these are television shows, you know? And then Dawn of Justice has nothing to do with them. They're all over the place with this stuff. Now, with us, our book and our story actually incorporates elements of the film into it. It's actually relevant to what's going on in the film universe. It's all the same. But the way that we can go crazy is because we're dealing with parallel worlds. We can go into things where they don't affect each other, where the continuity doesn't matter. So we have both, and I think that's what's really neat, because some people continuity can be a real drag. That's why DC does it the way they do it, because they don't want the writers on Gotham to have to worry about what happened on Supergirl. Do you get that? You know, it's like they don't want to have to worry about that, so they just say, you know what? You can only use these characters on this show, and they have these crazy rules. If you get into it, it's really interesting, actually, about how they'll be. Dave could probably talk a little bit about this, about even in the comic books they have this problem. And by the way, this is a great illustration of what I'm saying, of how our book ties in directly to the film. These are almost, shot for shot, the same from the movie as what's in the comic book, to kind of give that, so the Occupants book is part of the Occupants universe. It's not like its own little thing that doesn't matter. Because I know fans get kind of enraged about that. That was a big ruckus about that with Lucasfilm when George Lucas sold Star Wars. All the expanded universe stuff, whether it was the comic book, whether it was the novels, all that stuff got erased. And there are fans that are just livid about that because they love that stuff. It was really good. And Disney decided to reboot it all, except for the original films, and then a couple other things like Clone Wars and something else that's considered canon. Where now Disney going forward is basically doing what we're doing. They have what they call the Everything Matters approach, and that's kind of the approach that we have now. So now, if you read a Star Wars comic book, it's supposed to be part of the larger universe. It's supposed to be quote-unquote canon. That's a big thing for fans. Is it canon? Or is it an alternate universe? Now, you definitely can do that. You can do the alternate universe. In fact, there's some neat things, especially with DC, If anybody's watched the Flash show, they know that they're doing a thing with alternate universes, and DC's been using this alternate Earth thing for a long time. But the way that we're doing it is much more. They're much more tied into each other, so they actually really complement each other. You can watch the movie and not necessarily read the comic book, and you're not like you're going to have a satisfying experience, because that's the other thing that kind of messes me up is like with Star Wars. There's criticisms out there, and I've seen people say, well, if you read the book or read the comic book, they kind of explain that. And it's like, no, this experience should be satisfying in and of itself. And I think we've done both, because we have a book that you can read that's going to be a very interesting, satisfying story that has great potential to go other places, that ties directly into our film. And likewise, our film is a very complete film that you can watch and you'll be entertained, and you won't feel like, well, I had to read the comic book in order to really understand this. It'll give you some more insight. There's no doubt about it. The comic book will give you a little bit more insight into the story if you read it. But they complement each other, So that's a really important part of our project. That's a little different than, like I said, like the way that DC and Marvel does it, where their comic books generally have nothing to do with their films, their television shows. They're totally different worlds. One doesn't impact the other. Other than, like for instance, like I told you with Civil War, they took the basic premise, which is that Captain America's on one side, Iron Man's on one side, and that's about it. And they took the name. I mean, nothing else is like the comic book. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's not the approach that we've taken. So a lot of people, I know they get really irritated with that. Like I have a friend of mine that works at a local store, and he had a post where he was really irritated about the fact that they were even using Civil War, because he loved the comic book series so much, which was an epic series that Marvel did. They tied in everything. X-Men too, by the way. That's one of the reasons people are a little upset about it, because some of the X-Men characters were very important to the Civil War storyline. Well, Marvel doesn't. Wow. Marvel Studios, Disney, they don't have access to the X-Men characters. That's all run by Fox. So they unless they can come to an agreement, they can't get those characters. So they can't have Wolverine. They can't have Dr. Xavier. They can't have those characters in the Marvel films. They can only have them in the Fox X-Men films. So that's how that stuff kind of works. We don't have that problem. So we can, you can see it. It's just plain for everyone to see right there. Those are our three major characters in the film, and they're in the book. And,
as people may recognize the gentleman that's by himself in the nice black suit there. If you're kind of looking at him and you're kind of going, God, that guy looks familiar. Well, friends, that is Robert Picardo. That is the holographic doctor, as you remember from Star Trek, the Next Generation, if I'm not mistaken. Or
Voyager. Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, okay. He's the actor besides the other two actors that you see to the left in the screen there. And of course, they're comic book parallel versions. Since this movie's really all about parallel selves, their parallel selves in the comic book world are directly below them, and that is the handiwork of Dave Beatty. And it's pretty impressive that the level of quality that Dave Beatty is bringing to this whole project is phenomenal. And to think that you could be part of it for as little as $5, or have your own image immortalized for $20, just $20. I mean, my goodness, it's like you go to a drive-through fast food restaurant and you spend $10 for lunch these days, for a burger, fries, and a soft drink. So skip 2 days of going through the drive-through. You've probably been wanting to lose a little weight anyways. Skip 2 days and spend $20, be immortalized, be tied into a phenomenal major motion picture that's an independent project. You're supporting independent Hollywood. You're plus you're going to be linked indirectly to Robert Picardo and these other phenomenal actors that are here. Let's see. Is there any thing? Oh, there's a picture of Russ. Well, let's just mosey along. We don't need to see him. Actually, we're kind of getting long in the show here, and here's another page of the book. You can see the quality is phenomenal. You definitely
Yep.
need to go to their Indiegogo campaign. You can link to it directly through occupantsthemovie.com. Just go to occupantsthemovie.com. In the lower right hand corner, you'll see the Indiegogo campaign logo. You just click on that. You get over to the Indiegogo. There's Chris and
Nicole.
oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Nicole
Thank you,
Moore.
thank you.
Yeah, she's
She
one
was
of the
at
other.
the comic book launch. She unfortunately had a prior appointment scheduled before we were able to go live, so I wasn't actually able to interview her, which was really unfortunate. But she did show up for about an hour. It was great, and it looks like we have a little sample of from Dave Beatty there in the lower left corner of Chris and Nicole posing there. And then I guess that's the end. That's the where we started.
It's all
Eric, I want to thank you so
perfect
much for
circle.
popping in tonight. We've been doing, it's 7:45. I know we got about a 15-minute late start tonight, but we've definitely given everybody almost an hour and a half of the program. And I know your campaign is on fire. It's gonna make huge headlines especially once the movie's released. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know you're really busy. You're the I'm drawing. It's
I'm the
late.
associate
Drawing a
producer on the
blank
film and
here.
editor for the comic book.
Yes, you're the director of the comic book, and you're also the associate director, producer
Producer.
of the movie itself. And
Yes.
we had Russ in the campaign room. He's laughing at me now, and yeah, he gave me the names there. If I'd only watched the chat room, I could have gotten the names.
Hey
But with
Eric,
that, I'm going to go
hey
ahead and
Eric.
wrap up the show tonight, and I will let everybody know that Dave Beatty, the cartoon artist that you can see his handiwork right next to Chris there on the left, he is going to be back here next Tuesday, and he is going to take your questions. So if you're an aspiring comic book artist or you want to learn more about Marvel, more about DC Comics, he's worked for them both. He's now independent. He's working on the Occupants campaign and their project right now, and he's putting on a bunch of other things. He is going to be here live, my friends. And Eric's already told you, if you've joined us really, really late in this broadcast, make sure you catch the replay. And with that, Eric, I want to salute you for coming on. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're really, really busy, and I appreciate you coming to the cafe, hanging out with us a little bit. Sorry the espresso machine was broken tonight, but luckily the vodka machine was working just a-okay.
Yeah, you got your priorities. That's right. And Eric, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it on every level. And on behalf of the entire Occupants team, thank you very, very much for your support of this project.
Well, thank you so much. I do super appreciate that, and I'm so happy to be part of helping you guys out and getting the word out. I know there's going to be so many people that later down the road are going to go, "Oh, I remember hearing about that or seeing that on the cafe," and and they're going to regret not chipping in or whatever, and especially when this goes big, because the movie is, I know it's phenomenal. I've read the script. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'll see that in late April when we live broadcast that at USC. And if you want to actually participate in that, you can go to their website. They have all their appearance dates, all the things on occupantsthemovie.com. So
And
make
there's a
sure you
lot.
get over there. It also has the link to the Indiegogo campaign, so you can participate with the Indiegogo campaign. Let me check the chat room. I heard it pinging. Let's see. Russ wants some of my vodka. Okay, Russ, I'll share some vodka with you when I get back down there to USC in April. Eric, I salute you. Thank you. A toast to you guys to good health, long life, and a successful campaign. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show. If you want to hang out, you're welcome to hang out. If you want to hang up and go relax, you can do that as well. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into the Cosmic Cafe show. This has been a great episode with Eric Alexander. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will have the cartoonist, the famous Dave Beatty, here next Tuesday evening. So you want to definitely tune in next week, Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tell all your comic book friends, all your, everybody that Dave is going to be here. Also, I should back the truck up here. Let's get back. Oops, back. There we go. For our news stories that we had at the beginning of the show, if you wanted to check them out, make sure you go to CCS Live hashtag on Twitter. Search that hashtag. Incidentally, there is a cooking thing or something going on right now where they're using the same culinary thing. I don't know, culinary cooking, whatever. They're using the same hashtag. So if you search CCS Live right now, you may get a bunch of cooking stuff. It's not going to make sense to you or whatever. For some reason, Twitter's kind of posting that towards the top of the page. I don't know why, because I've been using CSS Live. I'm kind of starting to slur my water seems to be polluted with vodka. Anyways, with that, you'll find today's stories. Hey, while you're on our website, CosmicCafeShow.com, or if you're over there at the CCS Live, chat room, you're welcome to throw a donation our way. We super appreciate it. It's handled safe and securely through PayPal. Gosh, I've had so much fun with Eric Alexander. It's kind of weird having an Eric and an Eric. I know Russ was making all kinds of little jabs about the parallels and all that. Hey, if you like us on social media, we'd super appreciate it. You're welcome to join the 13,000 plus Twitter followers, or the roughly 5,000 Facebook pages, likes, followers, whatever you want to call them on Facebook. Google Plus, I have absolutely no idea, because who has an idea what's going on with Google Plus? But we're on the ever popular Instagram, and of course we are right here on YouTube. If you're watching us through our YouTube channel live, please, right below where my finger is pointing, there is that red thing that says subscribe. Please join the 500, 600 plus subscribers of the Cosmic Cafe channel, and every day and all that good stuff. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.